Danandana Bhaja Jana Ranjana. That can play character. Give it to him. Yashodanandana Bhaja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachariyam. Yamuna Tira Vanachariyam. Jayara Damadaba Kunjabiyari Jaya. Jayara Damadaba Kunjabiyari Jaya. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Nitago Haribo, 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 Nitago Haribo. Jayam Vishnupa Paramahansa Parivrikaracharya Sutra Srimad A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Jayam Vishnupa Paramahansa Parivrikaracharya Sutra Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki. His Confounder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki. Prem se kao Sri Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasari Gaur Bhakta Ki. Sri Sri Radha Kṛṣṇa Gopa Gopinath Samakunda Radha Kundi Giri Govardhan Ki. Vrindavan Dham Ki. Mayapur Dham Ki. Dhoka Dham Ki. Jagannath Dham Ki. Ganga Maya Yamuna Maya Ki. Tasya Devi Bhakti Devi Ki. Sri Shnitai Guru Chanda Ki. Sri Sri Kṛṣṇa Balaram Ki. Ishwara Samasunda Ki. Hainam Sankirtan Ki. Nitai Gopimanandi. All glory to the Assembled devotees. All glory to the Assembled devotees. All glory to the Assembled devotees. All glory to the lotus feet of Sri Sri Guru Gauranga. Om Jnana Timanda Shagana Gana Salakaya Chaksu Sumilitan Yena Tasma Shri Gurave Namah. Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapita Yena Bhutale Swayarupa Kadama Yendadati Sapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Shutam Padakamalan Sri Guru Vaishnavistha Sri Rupam Sagajatan Sahagana Raghunatha Vitantam Sajivan Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Sri Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Devan Sri Radha Kṛṣṇa Parakam Sagana Lalita Sri Vishaka Vitamscha He Kṛṣṇa Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namasute Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radha Vindamnishwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Panchakapatarabhyascha Kripa Sindhi Bevacha Patitanam Pavanam Vibhyo Vaishnavabhyo Namo Namah Namo Mahabhudanyaya Kṛṣṇa Prima Pradayate Kṛṣṇaya Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Namine Guratu Se Namaha Sri Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasari Gaura Bhakta Binda Hare Kṛṣṇa 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Kṛṣṇa 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Ananda Lila Maya Vigraya Himabhada Vichavi Sundaraya Tasma Maha Prema Rasa Pradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namastate. So I thank everyone for being here this evening for our English edition of the Bhagavad Gita, the nightly Gita study here at Kṛṣṇa Balaram Temple, Vrindavan. So the Hindi class was just over, now the English section, the English part of it. So we are in the chapter 4, text number 19, the aspect of Jnana Yoga, or the transcendental knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita. So today's text is text number 19. Lord Kṛṣṇa is teaching Arjuna about yoga of action, karma yoga, yoga of action. Action means the activities that we perform, and yoga means the union, which means the object of our actions. The object of our actions. So, and of course, the object of our actions that determine our existence in this material world. If we want to stay in this material world, we perform action and then we make ourselves the enjoyer. Which means whatever we'll do, we eat the fruits. Then we stay in this material world. But if you want to get out of this material world, we perform actions, but that actions is directed to the Lord. So this is what Lord Kṛṣṇa is discussing here. Action, we always have to be there. We have to perform actions. We have to perform karma. But it's what we'll do with the result of karma. This is what Lord Kṛṣṇa is talking about here. So we have text number 19 on the board here. So we can repeat together. Yasya sarve samārambhāḥ kāma-saṅkalpa-varjitāḥ jñānāgni-dagdha-karmāṇaṁ tam āhuḥ paṇḍitam budhāḥ yasya sarve samārambhāḥ kāma-saṅkalpa-varjitāḥ jñānāgni-dagdha-karmāṇaṁ tam āhuḥ paṇḍitam budhāḥ yasya sarve samārambhāḥ kāma-saṅkalpa-varjitāḥ jñānāgni-dagdha-karmāṇaṁ tam āhuḥ paṇḍitam budhāḥ. Somebody can chant. kāma-saṅkalpa-varjitāḥ yasya sarve samārambhāḥ kāma-saṅkalpa-varjitāḥ Yasya, one whose sarve, all sorts of samārambhāḥ, attempts, karma, based on desire for sense gratification, saṅkalpa, determination, varjitāḥ, are devoid of jñāna, of perfect knowledge, agni, by the fire, dagdha, burned, karmāṇam, whose work tam, him, āhuḥ, the clear, paṇḍitam, learned, budhāḥ, those who know. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki. One is understood to be in full knowledge, whose every endeavor is devoid of desire for sense gratification. He is said by sages to be a worker for whom the reactions of work have been burned up by the fire of perfect knowledge. Purport. Only a person in full knowledge can understand the activities of a person in Kṛṣṇa consciousness. Because the person in Kṛṣṇa consciousness is devoid of all kinds of sense gratificatory propensities. It is to be understood that he has burned up the reactions of the work of his work by perfect knowledge of his constitutional position as the eternal servant or eternal servitor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is actually learned who has attained to such perfection of knowledge. Development of this knowledge of eternal servitorship to the Lord is compared to fire. Such a fire, once kindled, can burn up all kinds of reactions to work. Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Yeah, Mr. Here. Okay. So yasya sarve, samārambhāḥ, kāma-saṅkalpa-varjitāḥ, jñānāgni-dagdha-karmāṇaṁ, tamahu paṇḍitam budhāḥ. So one is understood to be in knowledge, in full knowledge, whose every endeavor is devoid of desire for sense gratification. He is said by sages to be a worker for whom the reactions of work have been burned up by the fire of perfect knowledge. So, from this verse to the next 5 verses of this Bhagavad Gita, so Lord Kṛṣṇa is discussing about the implications of karma. The implications of karma, because every activity that we perform, there is a fruit to every activity. There is nothing that has no fruit. So every activity has some fruit. So normally in this material world, all the activities we are performing have got its fruit. And of course, if the fruit of such activities is not directed to the Supreme Lord, then one is bound in the materialistic existence. Because after all, as they say, what you sow shall you reap. Which means, whatever you do, the result will come back to you. That is the nature of karma. So if you do good, you get good results. If you do bad, you get bad results. That's the way the karma works. No one is freed from the influence of karma in this world. No one whatsoever. Everyone is bound up by it. Doesn't matter how high you, even demigods. It doesn't matter how high you are. Just like one time, there was a sage, Mandukya Muni. He was performing austerity. Normally the Munis, they are great spiritualists, performing so much tapasya and all that. So this Muni, Mandukya Muni, he was performing tapasya in his ashram. He had an ashram. He was performing tapasya. And then there were some thieves. These thieves, they are being chased by the guards of the king of the town. And as they are being chased, somehow these thieves, they saw the ashram of the Muni, of the sage. So they went to the ashram to hide themselves. But the people who were chasing them, they entered the ashram and they arrested the thieves, and also along with the sage, because they thought that the sage was hiding these thieves. So which means the sage, the Muni, must have been conspiring along with the thieves, like that. So anyway, they arrested the thieves and then the sage, and then they brought them before the king. So the king pronounced judgment that everyone should be killed, that they should be killed. That was the king's judgment. So they put them on the outside, and then they were being pierced by the spear. But because the sage, he was a Muni, he had a mystic power. So even though he was being pierced by the spear, he didn't die. And then the king came closer by to have a look of this person. And then the king saw that he was a sage that they are trying to kill. And then the king realized his mistake. He said, "Oh, what have we done? This is a Muni. What have we done?" So, but the sage did not punish the king. So he simply went to Yamaraj. So he went to Yamaraj and told him, because after all, Yamaraj is the one that punishes everyone's wrongdoing. He's in charge of that. So the sage, he went to Yamaraj and asked him that, why have you allowed this to happen to me? Being arrested and then being pierced by the spear. Why have you allowed this to happen to me? So Yamaraj said, well, when you were a child, you pierced an ant by some stick. You pierced an ant by some stick when you were a child. So therefore, you are being punished by that. This is the reaction of what you did that time. So the sage became angry that, oh, you foolish Yamaraj. Normally a child cannot be held for any sinful reaction because a child does not know what he is doing. So how can you hold a child for what he has done as a child? How can you hold a child for a sinful reaction? So therefore, I curse you to fall down. You're going to become a Sudra. So Yamaraj, he was cursed by the king. He was cursed by the sage. So he fell down from his position of demigod, and then he became a Sudra. So he took birth he's the one that took birth as Vidura, because of his mistake of punishing what Mandukya Muni did in this childhood. But it's mentioned here that if one's karma is directed towards the Supreme Lord, that all the sinful reactions which one has performed before the commencement of the action of working for the Lord, all those reactions, they are burned up, they are burned to ashes. So which means there is no sinful reaction whatsoever that will come to a person who has taken up the process of devotional service. Just like Srila Rupa Goswami, he was describing that when one take up the process of devotional service, all those sinful reactions, prarabdha karma, abhrarabdha karma, all the karma beige, all these different sinful reactions, they all exterminated. The moment one take up devotional service to the Lord. Devotional service means actions which are done to please the Supreme Lord. So this is what is being pointed out here, that one's action is served. For instance, there's the action and inaction, karma and akarma. Because since every actions that one does, there's a fruit to it, there's a result to it. But however, for someone who has taken up to Kṛṣṇa consciousness, his action is no longer action, it's no longer karma. His action is no more, which means there's no more karmic reactions. Even though he's performing everything, he's doing so many things that everyone is doing, so many same activities, but all his activities are directed towards satisfying the Supreme Lord. All the activities directed towards satisfy the Supreme Lord. So such a person is said to be performing no actions. So in the previous verse, the Lord was talking about action in action. Action in action. The Lord is talking about in the previous verse. And in the next 5 verses, this is going to be elaborated much further. And of course, Srila Prabhupada, he gave very, commentary on, to make it very, very simple for us, as much as possible, because after all, the Bhagavad Gita is composed in a poetic form, because the Lord is speaking in a very, very poetic way. And this poetic way requires understanding. Because so many, many sages, many, many great acharyas, they've given a commentary on the Bhagavad Gita. And even though Arjuna heard Bhagavad Gita from Lord Kṛṣṇa, and for a period of 45 minutes, for 45 minutes, that's the only time it took for Lord Kṛṣṇa to speak Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. And then the Lord asked him, "My dear Arjuna, have you understood my instructions?" Arjuna said, "Yes, I've understood your instructions and I'm ready to act as you had instructed." So Arjuna, he understood Bhagavad Gita within 45 minutes. But some of us have been hearing Bhagavad Gita for the past 45 years, some of us 50 years, or 40, 30, 20 or so years. Still, we have not understood. Because if we still understand, then we will not be the same position as we are if we actually understand the Bhagavad Gita. And that's why there is the commentaries of the Acharya. So these commentaries make it easy for us to understand. So therefore, these commentaries, they are very, very important. And practically every Vaishnava Acharya, they have given commentaries on the Bhagavad Gita for the easy understanding of the humanity. So our dear Srila Prabhupada, he also gave elaborate commentaries on the Bhagavad Gita. And this Bhagavad Gita, the Srila Prabhupada call it the Bhagavad Gita as it is, which means giving Krishna's own word as it is. No interpretation, no twisting. Giving Krishna's own word. That Krishna says this. Krishna says, surrender to me, work for me, do my karma only. Don't do Maya karma. Do my karma only. There is one song composed by Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Krishna samsara koro charyanacha. That Krishna samsara, which means the activities of Krishna. Krishna samsara koro charyanacha. That don't do Maya samsara, don't do Maya activities, do Krishna activities. And then with that, you'll be able to develop love of Krishna. So the wise say that he is a learned person who engages in all activities while being devoid of expectation of results. So a learned person engages in activities without expectation of results, because he burns up all actions by the fire of his eternal constitutional position, which means it's eternal realization of Atma. What is the constitutional position of the spirit soul, of the living entity? What is their constitutional position? What is it? What is your eternal position? Yes. To be eternal servant of the Lord. That is our eternal constitutional position. Krishna Jivira Swarup Hoy Krishna Das, which means the Jiva is an eternal servant of Krishna. But somehow, in the material world, we think that we are the master. So therefore, all our activities should be enjoyed by us. That's what we are thinking. But in reality, our activities that we do, we actually, because our position is to always be servant. But under the illusion, we think that we are the master. Under false conception, we think that we are the master. But we are actually servant. It's either we serve our senses or we serve Krishna. Is one of the two. We have to either Maya das or Krishna das. And that's the, we try to serve Maya. The only thing that we are serving Maya, but Maya, she never gives us any satisfaction. Is it? Maya never makes us happy, even though we are very, very devoted in our service. You're trying to please society, you're trying to please relatives, friends, do so much, but still, there is never any satisfaction in all the service that we are rendering. Whereas, even a small action, a small activities to please the Supreme Lord, the small activities that is directed towards the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord, that small activities gives immense happiness, gives so much bliss, even the small activities. Just like the Lord said, that even if one offer me a flower, the Lord said, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam, even if one offer me a flower, the Lord said, I become so overwhelmed, I become so pleased with such a person. Even just the act of offering simple flower, not to talk of performing so many other activities. So that's what the Lord is saying here. That yes, a real learned person is one who performs activities without expectation of any result. However, it's not that one just performing activities, okay, I don't want no result, therefore I'm doing Karma Yoga, because Karma Yoga means no result, I don't expect any result. But the activities must be directed towards someone, God, Kṛṣṇa. Otherwise, if one is simply performing inactions, akarma, and it's not directed towards the Lord, still, one is still bound, one will still be affected by the karma fall. The karma fall, the result of the actions. It's only when it's in contact with Kṛṣṇa, who is considered to be the fire, then such actions will burn up all the results of all activities that one perform in this material world. It will burn it up. So therefore, the devotees of the Lord, they realize that yes, every of the activities is meant to give pleasure to the Lord. So Srila Rupa Goswami said, Anya ambila sutta sunya jñāna karma-dhyana-vritam anu kuyena Kṛṣṇa anu silana bhakti uttama. That devotional service is such that anya ambila sutta, which means there is no other expectation of results. There is no, one perform activities, there is no expectation of any result. Any other expectation is not there. No expectation of karma or jñāna or anything. And it's simply, what is service? What is bhakti? Kṛṣṇa no silanam, which means the satisfaction of Kṛṣṇa. So that's why in the next in these 5 verses, beginning from text number 19, which we are reading today, all the way to text number 23, the Lord is explaining this efficacy of actions. That the action must be performed, but must be properly directed. It must be because there are many immature yogis, there are many immature philosophers who talks about giving up karma. But they talks about giving up karma, but you have to, because after all, even when you are not doing anything, still that's many other things that you are doing which you don't know that you are doing. And that is giving you reactions. Just like, for example, even the very act of eating is an action you are performing. The very act of breathing, so many things you are doing by which you are inconveniencing so many living entities. So the sinful reaction is there. All our existence in this material world, it's all have their particular results. Whatever we do in this material world, it's basically a life of sinful activities. And this is what the Lord is saying here. So therefore, it's only when one comes to Christian consciousness that all these things, all the reactions of materialistic existence, they are burned to ashes. They are burnt to ashes. So there is one particular song, how a devotee, just by engaging in the devotional service of the Lord, by directing all his activities to the Lord, whereby devotees feel himself that, okay, now my dear Lord, I am giving up any desire for myself. I have no desire of any reward whatsoever. I simply want to please you. I simply want to please you. So therefore, because I simply want to please you, what my position is simply that of a caretaker. So therefore, I'm always happy. There is one song by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He has said, he has composed as follows. Sabasha tomara charana sampriya Purechi tomara gare Tomito takura tomara kukura Puriya jana homore Bandeya nikate amare palibe Roibo tomara dware Patipa janeye asite nakibo nadibo Rakibo gadira pare Tabani jajana pasada sebiya Uchista rakibi jaha Amara bojana paramanande Pratidine wabitaha Bosiya suya tomara charana Chitimbo sobdota amin Nachite nachite Ningate jaibo Takona dakibe tumi Nijera posana kaibuna babibo Roibo babira bare Bakati binoda tomare palata Poliya barane kore. So he's saying, now that I have surrendered all I possess, I fall prostrate before you, my Lord. I prostrate myself before you. I prostrate before your house. You are the Supreme Lord. Kindly consider me your household dog. Chain me nearby and maintain me as you will. I shall remain at the doorstep and allow no one to enter your house. I will keep them at the bounds of the moats surrounding your home. So in the subsequent commentaries of this Karma Yoga, which been explained in this chapter 4, whereby a person is working without any expectation of results, without any karma file, and the person is not concerned about maintenance, because sometimes if you say that, oh, you mean I have to work and I have to give everything, how will I maintain myself? For example, I say, okay, go on doing your work, go to your office, perform your duty, but at the end of the month, you should give all your salary to the temple. Do your work, go to your office, but 100% of your salary you should give to the temple. So, in your mind, you will think, you mean giving 100% of my salary to the temple? How is that? How am I supposed to maintain myself? I have my family, my children. How can I maintain myself if I have to give 100% of my salary, to the temple? And I start thinking that what a crazy guru is this? What a crazy spiritualist is this? Telling me that I have to give all my salary. I should keep on working, but give 100% of my earning to the ashram. How can I maintain myself? But the Lord is saying here in this verse, he said that the person who is not concerned about his maintenance, about his upkeep, who is not concerned such thing. Such a person is said to be performing all activities, but he's not performing, he's not doing anything. Action in action. So the Lord is talking about it. So, like for example, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta has one disciple. This disciple was a professor of a university, was a professor. So this disciple, he was so much surrendered to the Guru. So much surrendered to the Guru. So at the end of the month, whatever salary he got from his teaching profession, he will, 100%, he will give everything to the Guru, to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. And he was just give, which means he will not expect anything. And of course, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta will give him some, okay, you can maintain your family with this or with that. But he was so surrendered to the spiritual master. So such a person are actually a real yogi, the real yogi. So the Lord is talking about those who perform only activities, but they are not concerned with what the result will be or what's going to be their maintenance. They just have no concern with that. So in that song, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying here, he said, my dear Lord, I want to be just your dog. This house of mine, this is what I call my house. This is not my house. This is your house. I'm just your dog. Chain me. Then I'll be the guard of this house. He said, and then he said, whatever remnants your devotees leave behind after honoring your prasad will be my daily sustenance. Will feast on those remnants with great ecstasy. While sitting up, while lying down, I will constantly meditate on your lotus feet. Whenever you call, I will immediately run to you and dance in rapture. I will never think of my own maintenance, but rather remain transported by a multitude of ecstasies. Bhakti Vinod accepts you as his only support. So when we hear about the process of bhakti, we know that this is not a simple process. Lord Kṛṣṇa says bhakti sudulabha is very, very rarely performed. Very, very rarely attained bhakti sudulabha. I said my devotees are very, very rare. Because devotee is the one who has completely given up all desires for any personal ownership, for any personal enjoyment, without any concern for what is due to him or her. The only concern is simply how to, please the Lord. How to please the Lord, that is the only concern. The only concern is there's never any consideration of what is good for oneself. Never any such consideration. But, nowadays many of us become, especially we join the Hare Krishna movement, we join the temple, we feel some relief from materialistic, engagement. But at the same time, it's like, okay, I'm a devotee in the temple, I need something, I need some maintenance, I need this, we have so many long lists of demands, So because we have so many long list of demands, where is our bhajan? Where is the bhajan? Bhajan is not there. Because we have long list of demands as a result of staying in the temple or in the ashram. But where's the bhajan? Whereas bhajan means to be completely fixed at the lotus feet of the Lord, to be completely akinchana, which means no consideration of what I'm going to eat, where I'm going to sleep, whatever, no consideration of anything, just surrender unto the Lord and devotee simply that, okay, my Lord, I've surrendered myself unto you. What is good for me is up to you. You know what is good for me. So therefore, sometimes when people hear about this surrender, they become scared of it. Saranagati. Saranagati is not, it's not that easy. It's not afraid. But those devotees who have surrendered everything, we know, of course, the Lord said that, those who have conquered me by their love, I also become conquered by them. Ajita Jeta, that he is Ajita, unconquerable Lord, but he become conquered by the devotees. When devotees surrender to him, they have so much love for him, the Lord also become conquered by their devotees. Just like here in Vrindavan, for example, the Ridi Buddhists of Vrindavan, the Brijabasis, who have so much love for Kṛṣṇa, their life is simply whatever Kṛṣṇa wants. Their life is totally surrendered to Kṛṣṇa. So they love Kṛṣṇa so much, and Kṛṣṇa also loved them so much, that Kṛṣṇa does not consider himself to be God. He doesn't even accept that he's God. And his devotee also, they don't see Kṛṣṇa as God. They simply love Kṛṣṇa, and Kṛṣṇa also simply love them. So there's no consideration of God here. They just, what is there is just love in exchange that is there. So therefore, Kṛṣṇa becomes a plaything in their hands. It becomes a plaything. They will chant, they will sing, they will sing, and they say, "Oh, Kṛṣṇa dance. If you dance, we are going to give you laddu. If you dance." So they will sing, and then Kṛṣṇa will be dancing as a young child, young boy. He will be dancing so that he can get some laddu from the gopis when they are singing. This is, of course, is a reciprocation of love that is there. So this is very, very important topic that is being discussed here in the Bhagavad Gita. Even though it looks to be, because sometimes people say, "Oh, Bhagavad Gita is just a very basic, it's a basic science, just a basic knowledge of God. It's just a basic." But Bhagavad Gita contains the essence of everything. Because if we understand Bhagavad Gita, then we will not be the same again. But we have been reading for long, still we have not understood. So therefore, we have to be continuously repeating this thing. We read from chapter 1 to chapter 18. And then we come back again every 18 months. We complete the Bhagavad Gita. And then again we start from the beginning. So I remember the first time we started the Bhagavad Gita class here. This was in 1999 or something like that, when Parvati Mataji started it. So we have gone through Gitas several times over and over and over and again. But how much of it have we actually understood? How much of it? So which means we are not really paying attention. If we really pay attention what is being said, then we'll be great devotees. So anyway, thank you very much for listening. So Lord Kṛṣṇa is talking about giving up the desire for actions. Actions cannot be given up. You cannot give up actions, but you have to give up the intent to enjoy the fruits of your actions. The fruit should be given to Kṛṣṇa. The fruit should be for the satisfaction of Kṛṣṇa. Then you will not be bound in this material world, and then you will get bliss. You'll be happy. Bliss will come if you have such mentality. So thank you very much. If there's any question, yeah, at the back. There's a question. Is there a mic?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Say dasa.
Just mic to your mouth so that.
The say in the Scone society das. So whom das we are? Guru das or Lord das? Which is most important? To become the servant of Guru or to become the servant of Godhead?
To become servant of Guru.
Or to become the
Yeah.
Which is most important?
The most important is to become servant of the Guru. Because Guru knows Kṛṣṇa, you don't know Kṛṣṇa. If you serve the Guru, Kṛṣṇa will be happy with you. So you have to become the servant, but you have to find out the bona fide Guru and become a servant. So Kṛṣṇa said that for one, who loves my dog loves me. If you want to please a big man, you go find those things that belong to the big man. Then, If you please those things that belong to the big man, then the big man will be happy with you. You cannot. What can you give to it? What can you do to a big man? In this country, we have rich person like Ambani, many rich people. What can you give them? They have everything. But if you find something that belongs to them, maybe something that they love, and you try to do something for that thing that they love, then they become happy with you. So the same way also, we cannot serve God directly. We can't serve directly Bhagavan, but we can serve his dear devotees. His dear devotee, they kindly come before us, so we render them service, then they are easily pleased, and then the Lord become happy with us. Okay? Any other question? Anybody here? Do you understand English? Or just looking? Huh? You understand English? How many people understand English? Raise your hand. Okay, some few. Huh? One more question? Okay.
Whenever we come to the bridge, there is a confusion.
There is what?
There is a confusion that bhakti can done in bridge only, and because there is less maya in the bridge dham and
less what?
Maya.
Maya.
The maya action is less in the bridge because there are n number of devotees in the bridge dham. But if we live in the metropolitan cities like Delhi, Mumbai, London, etc., there is lot and lot of maya there. It is said a sadhu sangh. The association of devotees is there in the bridge, but there is very difficult association of devotees in the metropolitan cities. So is it the good statement to can we do bhakti properly in metropolitan cities? Because when we live in bridge 10-12 days, it is very good life, but when we go to the metropolitan cities, the life is full of maya.
Well, it's all a matter of mentality. A person can be in Vrindavan and be much more maya than someone who's in big city, Delhi or Mumbai. After Srila Prabhupada came to America, many of us, we came from US cities, Washington, New York. That's real maya is. But, when there is, wherever there is Harikatha, maya cannot be there. When our Guruji Srila Prabhupada came, he brought Kṛṣṇa with him from Vrindavan to America, to New York City, the headquarters of Maya. But because he brought Kṛṣṇa there, Maya gave way. And many devotees and many persons became attracted to him and then make them devotees. Became attracted and then they no longer attracted to Maya. They are attracted to Kṛṣṇa, just want to be here by Kṛṣṇa, serve Kṛṣṇa devotees. So it's not a matter of where you are, which place is a matter of your consciousness. It's consciousness that matters, not so much where somebody who is here in Vrindavan can be much more Maya than someone who's in a big city. The whole material world is the kingdom of Maya, the whole material world. Where can you not find Maya? Maya is everywhere. But it's your consciousness that determines. You can create Vaikuntha anywhere you are. Lord Kṛṣṇa says, Nahantistame Vaikuntha yogina hridayena. He said, you cannot find me in Vaikuntha, nor in the heart of the yogi. Where can you find me? You find me where my devotees are talking about me. So, if devotees are discussing Kṛṣṇa Katha in Delhi, Mumbai, any big metropolitan places, that's where you find Kṛṣṇa. That place becomes theater, become the only place of pilgrimage, where devotees are talking about the Lord. So that's what you should aspire for. Okay? Okay, thank you very much for listening. Srila Prabhupada ki, Krishna Balaram ki, Hare Krishna.